Portland Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast2Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with Shaggy TV. And we're at the Huset Speedway for a little flatline racing bodies. Hometown heroes here on Wednesday night. First up, we got the A&J Custom Creations midget sprint cars out here. This is always a fun one. Well, I guess they're not really midget sprint cars. They're just called midgets, I guess. Run similar sprint car frame. No wing on there, but definitely always good racing. It's tough to tame these puppies. I expect... Well, actually, I don't expect. That's right. Jack Hitt not here this evening. He's... kind of always one of the favorites. You got to think this guy is going to enter the picture here as a favorite in the 87. The General Andy Patton, always quick. Sponsored by A&J Custom Creations. There you see it lit up on the side. What's the 87 look like? Lap 1 almost gets into the outside wall. Does a good job of staying out of it, but as you can see, lost a lot of time there in that final sector. And now Joseph Grandy sees himself at the top of the charts. Quick time for Joseph Grandy in the 5:18. Lap number 2 gets a little quicker, even 13:08. This time around, moves on up the charts. Blake Chapman, lap number 1, P3. Keep an eye on him, and well, I'm not going to spoil the hint here, the surprise. The next guy, keep an eye on him. And Blake Chapman, quick time in the 20 machine. And, well, lap number 1, you saw him go, P4. Let's see what the double nickel does. Steven Spees in the 55. Lap number 2, P2. And boy, oh boy, just like that, qualifying comes to a close. Your top 5, Blake Chapman, Steven Spees, Joseph Grandy, Randy Shreves, and Mason Hine. This is my gambler teammate. Oh, look at Dano here, practicing doing some burnouts here in the 88. He's going to have to put a new set of sneakers on that thing. Not going to have much rubber left on the left rear, but he did a pretty good job there. As that is a wrap on qualifying here, we'll get ready to take a look at the starting lineup here for heat race number 1. Starting on the inside of row number 4 in the number 19, Joe Massow. Outside of row number 3 in the 888, Steve Maurer. Into his inside, wow. On all 8 row, we got the 88 on the inside of Soupy Dan McLaren, and then the 888 to the outside. Not sure if we've had that happen before with those two. Pretty neat there. 5 8s in row number 3. Row number 2 to the outside. Your pole winner, the salesman, Blake Chapman. Into his inside, 100 grand, Joseph Grandy in the 518. Row number 1 for heat race number 1 at the Hewsett Speedway. To the outside in the 89, Mason hit him with the Hine. And to his inside in the 75, the mare, Steve Bixler. Man, this is a pick'em. No disrespect to row number 1, but I'd pick somebody in row number 2 if the gun's held to my head. Gonna go with Joseph Grandy. I think Blake can do this thing, but it's gonna be tough to get to the inside with Joe there as the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 1 underway. Time to play 6 laps at the Hewsett Speedway. Steve Bixler to the inside in the 75. Loses a lot of grip coming off at 2, and all of a sudden the salesman making me look like a dummy. 4th to 2nd right away. Possibly 1st. Does he throw the slide job? No, he sticks to the inside, but the battle is on for the lead. Side by side into 3 and 4. Blake Chapman. Oh, man, he made it look easy. 2 laps, 4th to 2nd. He got the pole, or 4th to 1st, excuse me. He got the pole for a reason. And, man, Mason doing a good job of fighting on the high side, but Blake is not going away in that 20 as they battle on. Does Blake throw the slide job? No, he keeps it down on the bottom. Mason doing a good job of staying up high. I thought maybe he'd try to cut underneath and get under Blake here. 2 to go. Time's running back out. Time's running out. If he's got anything, he's got to throw it now as Joseph Grandy gets real close to that wall in 3 and 4. White flag flying. 1 more trip around. Mason fought back through 1 and 2. They're side by side. As we roll through 3 and 4, Blake gets the tail tank up in front and holds off Mason for the first place finish. Gonna in P7. My mic may have cut out there. My apologies. I heard the sound. I didn't get a chance to look over. See if it was still registering there at the end when I was reading off the list. Sometimes when I get a little excited, this mic likes to cut out. You've heard me complain about it before, but let's take a look here. Starting grid, heat race number 2. Inside of row number 4, the 94 of Gary Offit. Outside of row 3, the 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Into his inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. The double nickel of Steven Spees rolls off on the outside of row number 2. Into his inside in the 56, Randy Shreves. Row number 1, heat race number 2. Who's going to start on the outside of the front row for tonight's feature? The 161, the Desert Demon to the outside. Into his inside, the General, Andy Patton, as we have 6 laps to decide the outside starting lineup here for tonight's feature. 6 laps to play. We're underway at Hewsett Speedway heat race number 2. The General slides up right away. Terry Landis Got that thing cut down to the inside. The 161 loves to roll the bottom, and he's going to get to do just that here. Terry Landis second to first. Will he look back? Here comes the double nickel of Steven Spees, qualified second, looking to the inside of the general Andy Patton. There's just a little traction there on exit. All of a sudden, Randy Shreves looking to battle back at the 55. All alone out front, Terry Landis. The battle is behind him. Andy Patton doing his best to hold off Steven Spees. He's going to go to that top shelf now. He opens the door for the 56. He can't find any grip down there either, and he falls right back in line. Looking like you want to run that middle high groove right now, but as soon as I say that, Steven, he's like, no room up here, Zach. I got to go down to the bottom. I'm running out of time. The white flag's flying this time. By one more lap to get it done as Terry Landis rolls out of 2. One more time through 3 and 4, and Terry Landis is going to start on the outside of the front row for tonight's feature. Slide job contact for P2. Andy Patton holds Steven Spees off. Randy Shreves 4th. Jeff Barker 5th. Bob DeGood 6th. And Gary Offit P7. We take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we'll be right back with your A&J Custom Creations feature right after this. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Joseph Grandy and Steven Spees sharing that quick time of 13:06 right now. 1 and 2. Blake Chapman third. Randy Shreves fourth. And Joe Mossow rounding out the top 5 here. Long way to go in the feature tonight, so track will change. You see Terry Landis, he won heat race number 2. Right now, P8 on the time charts. He's going to need to find a little something, get a little oomph out there if he doesn't want to sink on down through the field. Let's take a look at that starting lineup here for tonight's A&J Custom Creations Midget Feature event. Starting on the outside of row number 7 in the 94, Gary Offit into his inside, the 888 of Steve Maurer. Bob DeGood takes that 7 and lines up on the outside of row number 6 into his inside, the 88 of Soupy Dan McLaren. The Brewerton Beast takes that 513 and lines up on the outside of row number 5 into his inside in the 19, Joe Massow. Outside of row number 4 in the 56, Randy Shrees into his inside, the Mayor, Steve Bixler. Row number 3 to the outside in the double nickel, Steven Spees into his inside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. Row number 2 to the outside, the General Andy Patton in the 87 into his inside. Mason hit him with the Hine in the 89. Row number 1 for your A&J Custom Creations Midget Feature. To the outside in the 161, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis into his inside, the Salesman, Blake Chapman, as the boys get ready to go play 25 laps here at Hughes. It's my pick. I'm gonna go with Blake Chapman. You can't not pick Blake Chapman on the front row. I can't even pretend that I'm gonna think about somebody else. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the Clay and Houston Speedway. We're underway. Blake with a good run down here in the bottom through 1 and 2. Terry Landis trying to come back with a little something on the outside, and looking behind him, the double nickel Steven Spees started on the outside of row number 3, was up to 3rd, but the caution flag flies, and well, we don't complete the lap. You're going to have to give them back. Odds are that's what's going to happen. Let's take a look, see if we can peek at what happened. Looking like the 518 of Joseph Grandy was possibly involved. Let's go to the Chapman Racing drone camera here. Joseph Grandy in that Mobile 1 car floating up ever so. He's going to get a little help in the rear end, I think. And also, Andy Patton goes up and over the cushion, gets into the outside wall. Big stack up there in the middle of 3 and 4 right as they were coming to the line. And boy, oh boy, a midget graveyard. It seems all but one rolls away. I believe Randy Shreves was the victim who was stuck upside down. Let's take a look this time. Let's see if we can see what happened to Randy Shreves here. Well, that was actually Randy. That wasn't Andy that went up there. I thought that was Andy who had got into the outside wall. It was Randy, and you see he puts him up over on the lid, and still got the same two partying on the front, or up front right now. Terry Landis, Blake Chapman. Your guess is as good as mine, but I picked Blake. I'm going to stick with it here. Is Steve King Foundation pace truck. Not going to pull off just yet. Thought we were 1 to green. Going to maybe hold off 1 lap. Try and get Randy back out here. Hopefully we can get him back out on the racing surface. Lights are off now. Is Blake Chapman going to choose the inside here for the restart? See, Steven Spees falls the whole way back to 5th after moving up to 3rd. Tough break for him. As we see the Steve King Foundation pace truck hit pit road, Blake Chapman set to drop the hammer. And we've got 20 laps to go here at the Hughesett Speedway. Not too sure if they knew that, or maybe it's going to refresh for us, but caution laps are counting, I think. So hopefully it does get a refresh here, and it is going to reset. There we go, 23 to go. I was getting a little worried, man, and Steven Spees, boy, right back up on that cushion. We moved on up to 3rd, right back there once again, holds it at the line, goes around the 87. Mason Hine in the 89 started 3rd, down to 5th. Not the start he wanted in that 89, but plenty of time to regroup and get back at it. But the battle's heating up for P2. The Desert Demon downstairs. Look at the double nickel searching upstairs. Battle's on. Who's gonna get it as we go to the line? Give it to the 55. Terry just can't find that grip coming off the bottom. He can get to the center of the corner so well, but you need to float up against that wall. You want to carry all that momentum, and you see that there's just no grip on the bottom of the exit 3 and 4. You need to float up, and if you can't, you see what's going to happen to you as we go on back, man. These guys are racing good and hard. Randy Shreve's trying to get some of these spots back. Remember, he flipped earlier. Get out there, stay on the lead lap, got himself back up into the top 10. You're looking at him and Steve Bixler. That's the mirror to the outside in that 75. Put up a good fight. He's going to have to drive it in deep here, try to slide up in front. He can't. Going to be able to now as the 75 hops the cushion. Well, that's not when you want to imitate a bunny there. You want to keep that thing planted, not jump up over. Looking at the lead there, big old lead for Blake Chapman. Let's watch it. There he goes. Here comes Steven, 2 seconds back, and then well, the rest of the field kind of in a little train here. But man, oh man, the salesman out front. He is dominating low and slow. It ain't slow, but it is low. You can see, I mean, he is walking away from these guys. Steven and Terry somewhat keeping pretty close. Blake Chapman, let's just show everyone here. What kind of lap times are we seeing? So 13 2s, 13 1s, and nobody else is even close to that ballpark. I mean, Blake's getting faster. That last lap was his fastest lap out of his last 5. Pretty unbelievable what that kid's able to do out front. You know, man, without some serious help, he's going to win another one again. And no, the general Andy Patton, we saw him get into that outside wall ever so slightly. Here comes Joseph Grandy trying to reel him back in the 5-8. Plenty of time, 10 laps to go. Mason Hine feeling the car come back to him a little bit. He'd fallen off the horse, started 3rd, fell back to 6th, but has since gotten his bearings. Seems to figure out the grip a little bit. And he's coming. And speaking of coming, look at this 1-9. Joe Mossau up 2 spots, started 9th. He's finding a lot of grip in the center of the corner with 8 laps to go. Still got plenty of time to go up there and flirt for a top 5. And speaking of, Andy Patton trying to hold on to 4th as Joseph Grandy's in that final top 5 position. Contact between him and the 87. Oh, man. Steven Spees feeling the pressure here. Terry Landis back downstairs. These guys racing hard with 6 to go. Can the Desert Demon find a way around the double nickel? This is probably the closest battle on track, and it's spoiled. Caution waves. For the second time here is Dan McLaren involved in this one. Let's see what happened to the 88. Gets into that front stretch wall, does a loop. Oh, almost able to keep it straight. Does, well, what's the math there? Let's see, 720 and then another 180. That's a 900 he almost did there. Toes it in, calls it a night. Hopefully we see Dan in the sprint cars here later this evening. But nobody, absolutely nobody has anything for the man out front in that NOS machine. Blake Chapman. Fast as lightning right now. It's crazy what he's able to do. Kid's talented, and he's got 3 or 4 really good talented drivers behind him, and he's making them look like they need to take a driving lesson here. It's pretty amazing what the kid's doing. If the rest of the field doesn't figure it out here, they're going to be in trouble. Only going to have 4 laps to go when we do take the green flag. And trying to figure out why. Oh, now we get that camera. Didn't want to hop up when I was clicking it, but the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 4 laps to play. Blake leads the field to the green flag. Blake, man, he just hooks up that bottom. Steven maybe getting a driving lesson now. Gonna be close. He hits that berm, and just like that, Blake gone. 0.7 of a second. Terry tries to reel in that fishing line as Joseph Grandy pulls a wheel. He loses control, gets into the 87. Andy Patton's got to get up out of the way. And with 2 laps to go, the general, man, he's bounced out of a sure top 5 by the 5:18. Battle's still going to be on for second as the white flag flies. Blake Chapman, one more trip around. The kid's been exceptional all night. Final time through 3 and 4. Checkered flag waves, and Blake Chapman wins his 2nd midget event of the year here in the A&J Custom Creations. Part 1 of 3 for the hometown heroes. Steven Spees P2, Terry Landis 3rd, Joseph Grandy 4th, Mason Hine rounding out the top 5. But man, I may have funked that calling there. I wasn't really sure what to say at the end, but Blake kind of did all the talking on the racetrack. I think it allowed me to make a mistake. Everything that needed to be said was in that huge lead the kid had, and it's absolutely phenomenal. What an exceptional night for him so far. Quick time, wins heat race number 1, and then sweeps the midgets by winning the feature. And let's see here, can we go back and go back a little further than this, I think. We'll see if we can't get a word with the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Oh, man,
Come on.
I knew you'd be talking. I was almost disappointed that I didn't hear you mic up. I always interrupt you. I was like, why isn't this guy talking? But hey, Terry, man, you and Steven, before that caution came out, boy, oh boy, man, you guys were duking it out. That looked like a lot of fun out there tonight.
That was, bro. That's like old times. Me and Steven always battling hard like that.
Now, what do you think it is? I mean, about these that you're just able to get right down to the inside. Now, obviously, the kid up front, was exceptional about it. But
League of his own there.
Yeah, towards the end, I could see Steven, he was fumbling with hitting the berm a little bit. And, man, you just hooked that left front right against it. How do you do it? Corner in and corner out.
It's funny you say that. I don't know how you can see it on your video card, but to me it looks like the bottom when the linear used to have that little platform going around the bottom, and all you had to do was hook the left front on that and it drive you right around the turn, and that's what you got to do there. That's what it looked like. But yeah, Steven said he was starting to take it a little too hard. I think it was because he heard that car behind him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's obviously a coulda, woulda, shoulda, but he had that chance to reset. And I mean, you're coming out of 3 and 4. We watched you. When the caution flies, you're right to his inside. Do you think we're maybe talking to you after Steven if he doesn't get that late caution?
No, I think it would have been all right. I would have given enough room. I wasn't going to push the issue.
Well, Terry, you guys looked like you had a lot of fun out there. Sounded like you did. Congratulations on the P3, man. Long night ahead, but you got to be one of the favorites at least in that 410. I'm not sure how big the 360 class is going to get, but I expect to talk to you at least one more time before the night's over. But before I kick you out of here, Terry, who you want to thank, my man?
Hey, let me see. Who did you have? I updated my paints for Wednesday night, so you might have to refresh it all. But
Uh,
anyways, I'll go back with you, who and cart. You know, put
which one
I
did
mean,
you have on the midget here?
it was the Jeter car. It's all purple.
Yeah, purple. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay,
Okay. Yep.
cool,
I got
cool.
that one on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got that one
yeah.
on. I was making
But
sure I
yeah,
had the right one. This one.
all right. Yeah, I'm doing something different for the people at work. They're into racing stuff. Let me do something special for them. So we'll
I
see what
even
happens.
talked about it in the heat race, I think. Yeah, because I'm used to you being in the all yellow. I did highlight it at some point. Now you're jarring my
Yeah,
memory.
but yeah, and Galen's homegrown popcorn because you put carton, you get 15% off, and all them boys and you for putting it on, and Flatline Racing Bodies and my wife Judy.
But hey, great run, Terry. And like I said, man, hopefully I'm talking to you again later, brother.
All right, Zaggy.
Now we pull up the double nickel here, Steven Spees. Well, Steven, you hop on there a couple minutes before we get ready to roll. You get the fuel pretty quick. Qualify P2 and you finish P2. You had a good battle with Terry there at the end, but it just seemed like that kid out front, man. League of his own tonight.
Yeah, he's got that bottom nailed down. If it gets where the bottom can be fast, Blake nails it, and he's real consistent. And I think I had a little bit too much lead strapped to my right foot, and I was overdriving those corners and just couldn't keep up with him. But that's all right. I had a good time.
Yeah, it seemed like they're on that final restart. You stuck right with him through 1 and 2, and then, like you said, maybe overdrove 3 and 4 a little bit. But what can you what can you
Keen eye. That's exactly what happened.
yeah. What can you take from that? I mean, like, can you adjust next week, or do you just try to get the track to fit your style? I mean, what do you try to learn when you're behind someone racing?
I'm a dirt race driver, Zach. I make excuses.
I feel you. Well,
Yeah,
Steven.
yeah. I should probably practice or something, but you know how I feel about that. So show up, drive. If I win, awesome. Otherwise, yeah, so be it.
Yeah, we got some practice to do here. Maybe a 5-man team coming up in the 24. But hey,
That's right. I gotta turn some laps at Daytona here tonight, hopefully.
Well, hey, great run, Steven. Thanks for showing up, and a good P2. But before we kick you out of here, man, who you want to thank?
I just got to thank you, Zach, for sending me a message at the last second, making sure that I remembered that there was a race, and I got in here to do it. So I like this track. That's the first time I ran a midget on it, so it was good.
Well, hey, good run, man, and hopefully I'm talking to you again throughout the year.
Later.
That's the 55 of Steven Spees, who had absolutely nothing for this kid. I mean, Blake, you had I want to say 4 seconds, if my memory serves. It was a huge lead. Another late caution makes it disappear. Were you worried at all? Because, man, if you were, it didn't show. You drove right back away in the final 4 laps.
Yeah, I think I was worried a little bit just because I've been beat the last 2 weeks here on the top. So I was just kind of waiting all race for the bottom to go away and someone to catch up to me running that top side. But I was just really locked in on that bottom tonight, and I was looking at the gap a little bit, and when I looked at it right away, it was about a second, 2 seconds, or whatever. And the next time I looked at it, like you said, it was about 4 seconds. So yeah, I was just really, really locked in on running the bottom here tonight, and it was fast. So we just stuck with it, and we were able to hold on for the victory.
Yeah, now, Terry Landis kind of talked about it, and I was going to ask you about it because it seemed like you've got it to perfection, especially there in 3 and 4. Very similar to Lanier, that inside berm. And I mean, it just shows 3 and 4, man. You use that sometimes so well to turn the car, but how tricky is it to go in there and, not cut it too soon?
Yeah, it's really, really tough on this short track. I was finding a lot of success with. I don't want to give away all of my secrets, but I was getting out of the gas a lot and using a lot of brake on corner entry because there's a lot of grip throughout the corners on both sides of the turns there. And I was able to hit that once we got in. We were slow getting in, but fast throughout the corner and out of the corner, it's pretty tough to slow down the car on this short track. You want to get as much as you can out of it, and you're carrying a lot of momentum into the corner. But we were able to slow down that car and really able to get a hold of the bottom throughout the corners, which is definitely helpful.
Hey, man, and, not to inflate that head of yours even more, but that's what the good guys do, and it's a concept that, well, I try to hammer in my head, man, especially in the GT3 stuff I like to do. In like a lamb, out like a lion, dude, and that's exactly what you do. In slow, but, man, you got all that speed coming out of the corner, and you kill guys down the center of the straightaway, and, that's what's important. You find that grip coming middle off, and Blake, you dominated tonight once again. And until somebody figures something out, man, if the bottom sticks, you're going to be a tough guy to tame. They're hoping that bottom disappears. But congratulations on the big win here, kid. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, first I got to thank the family for watching. Got to thank all the guys under the Crite Sim Racing team, especially Terry for running with me tonight. I always enjoy running with him, and the Salty Dogs for letting us hop into their Discord. Of course, I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy at AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. The NFL playoffs are on, and there's nothing else better to snack on than some Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You can head over to their website, and don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. And I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on, Shaggy.
That's right, Blake. When you're watching the Commanders beat the Lions Saturday night, make sure you're eating Galen's popcorn. But good run.
I don't know about that. I don't think Shorty wants to hear that.
Hey,
Big Lions fan over there.
Hey, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Oh, wait. No, you know what? All right, I'm not going to extend this too longer, but I do have to acknowledge Shorty. Being a Lions fan is just like being a Skins fan. So I do feel for him. It stinks that we've got to play each other early. It sucks that we can't get to the conference championship, but hey, it is what it is. And Blake, congratulations on this win, man. I look forward to talking to you again here. I mean, the 360s, that's your cup of tea for sure, but the 410s, you've been pretty good in them as well. So good luck here the rest of the night.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman steals the win here in your A&J Custom Creations Midgets feature. And well, with that, we're going to step away here, run a couple videos, bring the track crew out, do a little track prep, get the 360s out of the haulers, and then we'll be ready to play in the clay again here at Hughes Speedway. So stick around. Your Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes 360 Sprint Cars are up next.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight when we talked about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network for part 2 of your hometown heroes flatline racing bodies triple header. The 360 sprints are up next on the docket, and right now the 518 of 100 grand Joseph Brandy. Your quick time setter Brian Moore Sr. P2, Mr. Wednesday Night himself. General Andy Patton rounding out that top 3 is. I imagine we'll get ready to roll here before too long. My mistake there on the late start and cutting the intro video a little early, but I was live on the other pages at 6:55, I promise. But I wasn't live on the correct one here on the Coast to Coast side of things, so that was my bad. Got it all figured out here. So no worries, but if you're out there watching tonight, let us know who you're rooting for. Blake Chapman won the first by not by a substantial margin because of the late caution, but in a pretty dominant fashion. Led the whole way, never looked back, and I'm not wishing it on everybody here, but to be honest, wouldn't be that surprised if we saw it happen. 7, 8, 9 tail Bixa getting some laps here before we close out. Ripping that high side in the 7, 8, 9. Looking pretty smooth up there, pretty good on the wheels. And as soon as I say that here, he's going to pull off. Maybe he ran out of gas. Oh, he's back in it. Let's see here, we'll ride off the roll bar. You can see that wheel a little bit. Straightened it out a little too early there. You know, you had to slow up too. The car tightened up on him. Watch the Desert Demon 2 different ways. He's really cranking it in there and then fighting it back, looking to come off the bottom. He's using that slide to, whoa, the Judy special on the hood. But Terry Landis, he does have that new scheme on. Looks like it's working, that purple people eater tonight. Let's see who pulls out on the track here first for qualifying. Looking like it's gonna be The 94 of Gary Offit. We'll watch him for lap number 1. Rolls the top through 3 and 4. And need to carry as much speed as you can. Nice and straight. With the outside here in turn 1, lap number 1. Looking good so far. Nice and smooth. Where does that put Gary Offit? With an 11:24, Steve Bixler, or Cale Bixler, excuse me, annihilates that, and then the Jacob Mossau back in town, the Moose, in the 44, 11:04. Looking at that P1 spot at the current moment. Let's see Blake Chapman going around purple sector 1. Blake Chapman, lap number 1. P6 after a purple sector 1. He really bungled 3 and 4. What does lap 2 look like? Blake Chapman. Man, oh man, that's going to be disappointing for him. The P6. Unlikely. Mason Hine in the 89 outqualifies Blake. Moves up to P5. Good run for the 89. Brewerton Beach, Jeff Barker pulling out. This is going to be his first lap here. Looking to the outside. Going to carry as much speed as he can for the 5:13. Fighting the car a little much in the center. You saw it kind of catch coming off. It snapped back on him. Keep it as straight as you can. We'll see what the time looks like. P12 definitely reflected that snap in 1 and 2 and runs out of time. And just like that, we're getting ready for heat race number 1. There's going to be 2 heat races. 16 guys and, well, 8 drivers in heat race number 1. I wasn't the best, but that's half, I think. Outside of row number 4 in the 814, Brad Wade into his inside, the 19 of Joe Mossau. The general, Andy Patton, lines up on the outside of row number 3 into his inside, Soupy Dan McLaren. Your pole winner tonight in the double 4, the Moose, Jacob Mossau, lines up on the outside of row number 2 into his inside, the 789 of Cale Bixler. Row number 1 for heat race number 1. This is going to determine the inside rows for your feature here this evening. To the outside in the 89, Mason hit him with the Hine. And to his inside in the 055, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Let's see here. It didn't do that for us in heat race number 1. I even refreshed it here in the off races, hoping that it wouldn't do it, but hey, we fixed the overlay. All's well. We're still waiting for a car to grid. I can hear the sound, so I promise this isn't a thing on Shaggy's end. We're just waiting for the final car to grid up. Brad Wade in that 814 yet to make the call. We'll go in that aerial view. You see he was on the outside of row number 4. So looking like we're only going to have 7 sprint cars here in heat race number 1. And Mr. Wednesday Night's going to lead the way. Steve King Foundation pace truck finally gets on the move a little bit. There's got a lot of people out there watching tonight. Let us know who you're rooting for. Get the chat box going. I know it seems lame, but the more active that chat box is, like YouTube likes that code. They'll share it to other people who watch similar things. Let's get it going. Our co-guy over there at Friday Night Lights, Joe Halter, he does an amazing job at keeping that chat box with the green flag high. Oh no, it's not. Okay, we're gonna go around one more time here. Mr. Wednesday Night gets to think about what kind of move he's going to throw here going into turn 1. Does Mason Hine try to plant himself on the outside, or is he maybe, be a little flimsy here, be a little forgiving, know that long way to go. You don't need to win heat race number 1, but boy, it sure would help as the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 6 laps to play in the clay at Hughes Speedway. We're underway. Oh, and there it is. Little contact. Mason gets some help from the 789 of Cale Bixler, and just like that, falls on back. That's why I always get a little bit nervous stuck on that outside row. You never know what's going to happen. Driving there aggressive and plant yourself in the middle, or do you just go up there and expect to lose 2 or 3 spots? And man, Mason High, that's a tough break for him. As General Andy Patton trying to move that 87 on up. He's behind the 19 of Joe Mossow. Jacob, he qualified on the pole, but hasn't been able to reel in those top 3. Kind of stuck here and running out of time as the boys running in line. 2 laps left here at the Hughes Speedway. White flag flies here. 1 more trip around. Brian Moore Sr. started up front. Can he finish their final time through 3 and 4? Checkered flag flies, and Mr. Wednesday Night is going to start on the pole for the 360s here at Hughes Speedway. Cale Bixler, Dan McLaren, Jacob Mossow, Joe Mossow, Andy Patton, Mason Hine, and Brad Waite round out the field. Heat race number 2. Row number 4 to the outside in the 7, Bob DeGood, and to his inside, the 75 of the mare, Steve Bixler. Row number 3 to the outside, the 513 of the Brewiston Beast, Jeff Barker, and to his inside, the 161, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 2 to the outside in the 518, 100 grand, Joseph Grandy, and to his inside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Row number 1 for heat race number 2. Where you finish is what row you're going to start in for the feature, but on the high side, and to the high side in the 20, Blake the Salesman Chapman, and to his inside, the 94 of Gary Offit. Everybody did grid up for this one. Just took a while. They took the full time. It's all fine with me. Able to hammer through that grid. And, well, now it's time to go play. Here we go. Steve King Foundation pace truck off. They drop the hammer. We're ready to play. 6 laps, heat race number 2. Blake Chapman hammers that high side confidently up to P1. Will he look back? The 94 of Gary Offit. He's going to have some company here. Joseph Grandy and the 56 of Randy Shreves. He's able to slide up. Contact between Terry Landis and Jeff Barker. Is Jeff Barker up and over? He's going to have to tow that thing. Tough break for the Brewerton Beast. Man, oh man, right where he left off. Nope, the 94 of Gary Offit, he had come to a stop, not too sure. He thought maybe he could get a caution here in the heat race. No caution, they keep rolling. Randy Shreves P2, but nowhere in the vicinity of the Salesman. 2 seconds up the road here in 4 laps. What are we witnessing? Blake Chapman has this place, oh my God, it's a safe haven for him. It's unbelievable, dominating fashion. Final time through 3 and 4. Blake Chapman wins heat race number 2 by 2 seconds. And man, oh man, you gotta think he's the favorite coming into tonight. In the 360 feature, Randy Shreves P2, Terry Landis 3rd, Steve Bixler 4th, Bob DeGood 5th, Gary Offit 6th, Joseph Grandy 7th, and Jeff Barker, P8, as we take a quick break, and we'll be right back with your 360 feature presented by Flatline Racing Bodies up next. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. 20 seconds till we roll into the feature. Randy Shreves, your quick time and warm-ups. Followed by Jacob Mossow, Kel Bixler, Blake Chapman, and Dan McLaren rounding out the top 5. As you see, we have an 8:14 sighting. Brad Waite didn't run the heat. Got him out here. He's going to line up at the tail end of the feature. Good to have the 8:14 and back with us. And with that, we see the checkered flag waves. Warm-ups come to a close, and we get ready to take a look at our starting lineup for tonight's Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature. Outside of row number 8 in the 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker, into his inside, the 814 of Brad Waite. 100 grand, Joseph Grandy lines up on the outside of row number 7 into his inside. Mason hit him with the hind. Gary Offit takes that 94 and lines up on the outside of row number 6 into his inside, the 87 of the General, Andy Patton. Bob DeGood lines up on the outside of row number 5 into his inside, the 19 of Joe Mossow. Row number 4 to the outside, the Mayor, Steve Bixler, into his inside, the 44 of Jacob Mossow. Row number 3, the Desert Demon, in the 161, Terry Landis to the outside, and the 88 of Soupy Dan McLaren to the inside. Row number 2, the 56 of Randy Shreves to the outside, and to his inside, the 789 of Cale Bixler. Row number 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature. To the outside, the 20 of Blake Chapman, and to his inside, the 055, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. As we pace around one more time, the boys get a little heat in the motors, and Well, we're going to upgrade those motors after this. We're going to get the 410s out of the trailers and go play. So, part 3 still yet to come. Make sure you stick around here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Definitely have all your nightly iRacing needs here throughout the week. Pretty much live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network every day, but the weekends, including Friday, as the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Houston Speedway. We're underway. Mr. Wednesday Night looking for that grip downstairs, and he found enough. Does he stay there? Does he go up and shut the door? Here comes the salesman dropping the hammer. He leads lap number 1. Side by side, going down the backstretch, entering 3 and 4. Brian Moore Sr. stuck on the bottom, and he's going to watch that popcorn man drive away. And, well, Blake switches spots. He goes down to the inside as we see the 89 of Mason on. He pulls off the racetrack, not too sure what happened to him. Andy Patton, he's got a little helper looking behind him. Joseph Grandy, they made contact with the midgets. Hopefully they don't do it again here. That's not what you want to see between teammates. But the mayor in the 75, he'd absolutely love to see it. So let's see. Look at what the mayor's got behind him, man. Look at that 2-3 wide guys fanning out all around. Steve needs to drop that hammer and get up there with those boys. Is the battle heating up for P2? Look at the purple people eater. The Jeters machine. Terry Landis to the inside in the 161. Man, the Desert Demon's so good and showing us why. Low and slow, doing it the way Blake did in the midgets. And let's take a look at these lap times. Interested to see. Blake Chapman, clearly your quicker guy on track, and I guess it's going to be another Blake Chapman show. Terry able to get within on 2/10 that time, but man, that adds up on dirt. That's not what you want to see. And that's no slight at Terry because he's way ahead of where I'd be. But Blake Chapman, man, he's got this place figured out. Boy, oh boy, he's able to just hook that bottom like he does in the midgets. Really slows it down. And let's see, can we cheat any tactics out of the kid? Can't really hear that motor because it's so quiet. Man, he's really just woeing that thing down, running it on the inside. You can see everyone else up there trying to find grip in the slick, trying to go up against the cushion, but Blake just low and slow, man. His own area code. 4-second lead over the Desert Demon. Dan McLaren started 5th up to 4th, hit by Mr. Wednesday Night as he's really been sinking. Started 1st down to 5th. I mean, when you start up front, the only way to go is down, and it looks like he may be going down one further. As the Moose, he's looking to the inside, but Moore Sr. not giving him any room, really getting those elbows out. He's going to make Joe work for it. This allows Joseph Grandy to reel him in. He thought about sticking it in the middle 3 wide. Backed out, thought better of it, went to that high side. Brian Moore Sr. went up there, shut the door. Massau downstairs, the 55 up on the top shelf. Massau able to clear him if he wants to. Maybe likes what he found down there. Maybe realized, hey, Blake's doing it. Maybe I should try it. Massau able to get around Dan McLaren. Soupy trying to run that middle. Now he saw something work. He tried to go down there. He clips that berm. That allows Joseph Grandy to move up into the top 5. Up 9 spots. $100,000 starting 14th. Cracks the top 5. The Inferno Motorsports man ripping that lip. He looks to the outside of the Moose. Pitches him in there, not going to let him float up. $100,000 up the P4 as the caution waves. He's going to have to give that one back. Oh, boy. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Blake Chapman. Oh! Oh! Brian Moore Sr. up in the outside wall with a broken right front. Gary off it. not too sure that the leader is into his inside. He tries to avoid Ryan Moore Sr. as he comes down, and Blake Chapman, man, just like that, the 20. Gonna have to go down to pit road. He's gonna have to fix that thing, but Blake Chapman should be able to go to 8th here as he was lapping some cars. But that's not really gonna help his case. It does help this man though. New paint scheme. Teammate there has a little bit of a hiccup, not Blake's fault, but man, if Blake's going to have a hiccup and somebody's going to inherit the lead, he sure as heck wants it to be this man in the 161. And could Terry Landis hold on to this thing? That would be one hell of a story. As the lights are off on the Steve King Foundation Pace truck, we're going to be single file within 10 to go. We'll have 5 laps to play as the 161 drops the hammer coming out of 4. We're back, 5 laps to play. Battle on for that final podium position. Jacob Mossow able to inherit it after Blake Chapman's misfortunes. Blake trying to move his way back on up, but he's only got 4 laps to do it. Gets one done by the 87. Gonna look to the inside of Dan McLaren. Not going to be able to get a 2 for 1 here. Not even going to be able to get a 1. Is too strong on the outside. Dan McLaren with 3 laps to go. Randy Shree's getting close. He's stalking your leader in the 161. Can Terry Landis hold on? Or can Randy Shreve steal this? As Blake Chapman back onto the podium. This kid could come up and take it. White flag flies. One more trip around. Terry Landis got to be smooth down there. Can't have any hiccups. Randy Shreves overdrives 1 and 2. Opens the door downstairs. Checkered flag flies. Terry Landis takes home your feature win. Joseph Grandy takes advantage of a contact between Randy Shreves and Blake Chapman. Randy holds on to 3rd. Blake gets knocked down to 4th. Man, oh man, the kid tried. Impressive effort coming to the end. Let's see what happened in that battle for the top 3. You see white flag waves. Randy overdrives the entrance of 1 and 2. Slides up a little bit. Now, Randy comes down a little. Blake's holding that. Maybe they don't make contact. Maybe Blake, I assume they did. No, it doesn't look like they do. So Blake just couldn't hit the bottom as well. Just not a lot of grip down there. Over throttles it. Loses grip. And Joseph Grandy steals it, man. Bounces it off the wall. Randy and Blake make contact. I assumed they did in 3 and 4, but that was as clean a finish as you're going to get. What a run here to close out. Those boys did not disappoint. But Blake Chapman, man, tough break for him. Big lead out front, working through lap traffic. And, well, sometimes bad luck happens, and that's what happened to the salesman here tonight. So we'll see if we can get a word with the 56 of Randy Shreves. Let him make his way on up to the Discord. As we pull him up here, Randy, man, exciting finish there, those last closing laps. What was going through your mind? It seemed like until, maybe 3 to go or so, you were reeling in Terry there and just maybe started to overdrive, lose the grip in the tires. What happened there in the closing laps?
Yeah, I did overdrive it there a little bit. I was just trying to, push the limit, see how far I can take it, but took it a little too far trying to pass Terry there, man. He just he was on a rail down there on the bottom, and yeah, definitely wasn't expecting Grandy to be where he was there at the end, and he almost got into him, and the panic turned down, and then got into Blake there. But yeah, pretty exciting finish, man.
Yeah, when you go back and look at that, I mean, yeah, okay, you made contact, but really last lap, you were going to finish third, Randy. I mean, with the way it was going to break down. You definitely don't want to make contact like that, but that's, you guys racing hard, trying to defend that middle, and you kind of talked about it. I mean, were you aware that there was that cushion up on the outside of 3 and 4? Because, man, Joseph kind of came out of nowhere. I don't even know if he knew it was there.
Yeah, I knew that there was something still up there. It's just Terry was so fast there on the bottom. I really didn't. I didn't want to risk it going all the way up there, and I probably should have, but I don't know. It's just one of them situations you just got to find out. So yeah, lesson learned.
Well, and it's one of those things, Randy, you know the deal, man. We're points racing, so you finish on the podium week in, week out. That's good stuff, and you don't want to jeopardize that. You did exactly that, bringing home a P3. Congratulations, my man. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to thank everybody at Coast to Coast, you, Shaggy, for the broadcast, Flatline Racing Bodies, KSB Builders, my son Dylan Street for painting my car, and I want to thank everybody for watching.
Well, hey, great run, man, and good luck here in the 410s. You're definitely going to be one of the favorites. Go get them.
Thanks, I'll try.
Randy Shreves, your third place finisher, and the man who stole P2. And Joseph, you started 14th, up 12 spots, man. How were you able to do it? And I mean, I had a pretty good view of it. It seemed like you had to do it everywhere, but man, those last couple laps, they were exciting.
Yeah, probably made a couple enemies that race, but trying to get to the front as quick as possible. 25 laps isn't a whole lot to get stuff done. Those extra 5 make a big difference. But trying to stay out of trouble and trying to go where people weren't.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of going where people weren't, you enter turn 3 and 4, 4th place. And, I mean, the seas kind of parted up top. Did you know that cushion was going to be there to help you, or did you just let it sing and go for it there in that final lap?
Yeah, I was hitting it the last, 10 laps or so. I just happened to hit it a lot better that time. Honestly, I thought I was going to fly by them all. I hit it so good. But, didn't expect that to happen, but it did, and glad it did.
Yeah, man, it made the finish exciting. Like I say, 4th to 2nd, that final 2 set of turns, man. That's a great run. Congratulations. Who you want to thank, brother?
Catalytic Recovery, West End Towing and Repair, all the guys over at Infernal Motorsports, Hinkle Homes, A&J Custom Creations, D&T Designs, a girlfriend Olivia, Flatline. Was it Flatline Auto Body? Was that it?
Racing Bodies. Pretty close.
Racing Bodies. Close. Okay, sorry, guys. Everyone at Coast to Coast, and you, man, for doing the broadcast.
Well, hey, great run, Joe. And, man, with that impressive run here, hopefully in that 410 you can put together a good heat. We need somebody. Now, I know, obviously, Blake, okay, I don't know if you saw what happened. Little misfortunate contact with a lap car spun him out. But, man, we need somebody to go up here and contend with that guy. He's been dominating, so good luck, Joe.
Thanks. Be a lot easier for Dawn starting back, but we'll see.
Yeah, good luck here, brother.
Later.
Joseph Grandy, your P2 finisher, and well, maybe not the guy who we thought it was going to be at the halfway point of the race, but Terry, man, you were comfortably that second place car, and well, your teammate gets involved in a little misfortune, and man, you're able to capitalize. You win the 360 sprints in the Purple People Eater, man. How you feeling?
Tickled to death, bro. I can't believe it. I hate it for Blake, though. I mean, but like you said, stuff happens.
No, it definitely does. And I mean, maybe you don't know this, Terry, but man, the way we feel about you, I know that Blake, it still stings. But when he sees you hold up that trophy, man, it's going to sting a whole lot less. There aren't many people who have worked harder for one of these than you, and it's been a long time coming for you. I mean, it's been a couple months, I think, since I've seen you win one of these.
It might have been longer than that, bro.
Hey, I didn't want to throw you under the bus,
I'll throw myself under the bus. I suck on Mondays.
Well, I mean, obviously, you can't give away all the secrets, but you get to sit down there with Blake, and seeing some similarities with the way you're driving the car. Maybe not to his level just yet, but after that midget race, what'd you learn, man? You were hooking up on that bottom.
Yeah, just gotta mind your P's and Q's coming out of turn 4, and just hanging that left front around the turn and getting the RPMs right, and off you go.
Well, man, I think you might be onto something with this new color here. Back-to-back podiums and your first win here on Wednesday night in quite some time. You never know. Those 410s, man, you hooked that bottom just like that, and we could be talking to you here again after the next one. I don't want to jinx you, but you gotta be, in conversation for that top 3 for sure.
I would hope so. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just watch throttle control, and especially these things. I don't even know if they have them geared out. They're probably like way over geared anyway.
Now, obviously, Terry, don't give me your number here. Don't give away all your cards, but I do always forget. I don't run the 410s a lot. Now, when you go into this feature, will you cut the power down at all in the 410?
Yeah, if you can. Isn't it a fixed setup? I don't know, but yeah, definitely do something to it. Slow it down.
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can still cut the motor down in the fixed setup. I think Blake Chapman's the one who told me that, because I honestly, for the longest time, never even knew you could do that. But hey, man, you live and you learn. Great run tonight, Terry. Congratulations, man. Like I say, 2 for 2 here. Good luck in the third one. But before you get out of here, you know the drill, man. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, we'll thank oh my God, Jeter. Those guys give me a place to work, I guess. No, it's a fun place to work. We get things done, and talking with Randy there, and he likes the product, so that's a good thing. Yes, give those guys a shout out, and Flatline Racing Bodies and Galen's Homegrown Popcorn. Put card in the password and get 15% off. And my wife Judy and you, Shaggy.
Well, hey man, good luck here. We can't expect Blake to get involved in something back-to-back races, so you're gonna have to figure something out here. Go see if we can eat up that 4-second lead here. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, Shaggy.
Man, it's gonna be a tough task, but you could hear the enjoyment in his voice. Nobody deserved that more than the 161. And man, I'm glad I was the guy to call it. Congratulations to Terry Landis, winning your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature. Up next, we're going to take a little break, but we got the 410s ready to come out and play. Can anyone dethrone the popcorn salesman? Or are we looking at another dominating show here from the 20? Now, I know it's not to take away from Terry, but we both know what was going to happen here. He's a realist, and, he said, got to take it how you can get it. And boy, he got one tonight. Congratulations to Terry Landis. We'll be right back after a short break.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight we'll be talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We're back live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network, part 3 of 3 here. Only 10 cars in the field for tonight's 410 flatline racing body sprint cars. Should have 2 heat races of 5, I would think. And then we'll go determine a king here. And right now it's Brian Moore Sr. at the top of the charts. Joseph Grandy P2. Andy Patton third, and Captain Beast Jeff Barker getting out for his first laps here on the racetrack. Have to see where he slots in. Right now, P9 is come to a close. Checkered flag waves, and we'll get ready for qualifying here in the 410s. Say a little bit of a smaller field, but should be good hard racing, and that just means it's going to be a quick one here. So don't disappear. Let's see who pulls out on the racetrack here first for qualifying. Looking like right now it's Bob DeGood, maybe. No, Joseph Grandy surpassed him. He's going to beat him to the line here in the 518. 100 grand not messing around. Full throttles down around the outside. Just like that, lap number 1 underway here. What can the 518 put down? Brian Moore Sr. quickest through sector 1. Joseph Grandy was quickest through sector 2, but purple for the general, and Andy Patton takes the 87, and he marches straight up to that top spot with a 10.71. Randy Shrees P2 in the 56, taken right back by the 518 of Joseph Grandy. All for naught, the salesman with a 10.6. He takes P1. Randy Shrees purple through sector 2, but was slow through sector 1. He's going to take home P6, and Terry Landis clocks in with a P3 in that cheater's 161. So Blake Chapman, Andy Patton, Terry Landis, Joseph Grandy, and Brian Moore Sr., your top 5. Randy Shreves, Jeff Barker, Brad Waite, Stephen Bixler, Bob DeGood. The rest of the field, as we sit around and wait for heat race number 1. Thanks for joining us here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Appreciate you being here. If you're out there watching, let us know who you're rooting for. If you're interested in joining, you can head to c2crl.com. It's a beginners league, always taking new members. And actually, I may not have done that enough. We're going to do one heat race here. 10 guys. So my apologies. On the outside of row number 5, the 7 of Bob DeGood. And to his inside, the mare in the 75, Steve Bixler. Row number 4, to the outside, the 814 of Brad Wade. And to his inside, in the 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Row number 3, to the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. And to his inside, Brian Moore Sr. in the 055. The salesman, Blake Chapman, lines up on the outside of row number 2. And to his inside, the general, Andy Patton. The Desert Demon, Terry Landis in the 161, lines up on the outside of row number 1. And to his inside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. As we get set to go here, heat race number 1. I sped that up a little bit because normally they cut pace lap short. They may have thought I needed a little more time, but 10 cars, come on, I'm better than that. We'll go around one more time here, let the drivers get one last feel for the racetrack, and try and see if anybody can figure out the antidote here to the 20 machine, because if he's gotten out front, everybody's just been looking at that tail tank for about 2 or 3 laps, and then they can't see him anymore. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. 6 laps to play in the clay at Hewsett Speedway. Heat race number 1 underway as the front row makes contact. Terry Landis and Joseph Grandy both live to talk about it, but boy, oh boy, that was a close call. That could have been really nasty as the battle heating up behind Brian Moore Sr. to the inside after losing 2 spots. He had to check up and all that, and I'm sure that didn't help. And the General Andy Patton in the 87, he's disappearing a little bit. Not too sure. There he is back in 5. Saw him reappear, but Battle for the lead. Terry Landis trying to make his teammate in the 20 work for it. Now, Terry, don't be too nice here. He opens the door. He knows Blake's a little quicker, but... Oh, there he goes. There he goes. He gets that left elbow up. Shows him that left rear tire. Makes him think about it. And Terry Landis, that throttles his friend right now. He's trying to hammer down. There's still enough grip as the white flag flies. These two battle hard. Blake Chapman doesn't close the door just yet. Stays down low. Final time through 3 and 4. Blake Chapman takes the checkered flag. Terry Landis P2. Joseph Grandy 3rd. Randy Shreves 4th. And Andy Patton your top 5. Brad Waite, Brian Moore Sr., Jeff Barker, Steve Bixler, and Bob DeGood round out your field. And, well, that's going to be your feature starting lineup as well. But we're going to step away here for a minute, take a quick break, and we'll be right back with your Flatline Racing Buddies 410 feature at the Huset's Speedway. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network with your 410 feature presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. Up next, Blake Chapman, your time. Joseph Grandy, P2. Mayor, P3. Brian Moore Sr., 4th. And the General, rounding out the top 5 as the checkered flag waves on tonight's warm-up session. Ready to check out our final feature of the evening. Once again, presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. Big shout out to all the sponsors here who helped pick up the slack on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. Couldn't do it without you guys. Rounding out the field outside of row number 5, the 7 of Bob DeGood. And to his inside, the 75 of the Mayor, Steve Bixler. The Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker, lines up on the outside of row number 4 in the 513. And to his inside in the 055, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Brad Waite takes the 814 and lines up on the outside of row number 3. And to his inside, the General, Andy Patton. Row number 2 to the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. And to his inside, the 518, $100,000, Joseph Grandy. A Crate Sim Racing row number 1 for tonight's feature here at the Hughes Speedway. To the outside, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. And to his inside, the salesman, Blake Chapman. In the 161, keep up with Blake, or is Blake going to try to drop those sails and set a pace early? Joseph Grandy's going to have to try to stay in tow, and not going to be easy to do, but if anybody can do it, it's that 518 as the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay. We're underway. Right on the nose here, the 518. Joseph Grandy right in the thick of it. You see those front two. They settle out. Single file, racing smart. That's the way to be. Terry now going to try to hold up the rest of the field here as long as he can. And that's no slight at Terry, but that's just kind of the way it's going to look to everyone else, because Blake Chapman already 1.3 seconds up the road. Joseph Grandy gotta find some grip up there on that top shelf, find a way around the 161. Is Terry Landis doing a good job? 2 or 3/10 lost that last lap, but there he loses 3/10 and 3 and 4 and $100,000 gets into the tail tank of the 161. As boy, turn the wing up, man. It's getting hot up front. Brad Wade here in the 814. He's got that yellow machine humming. And to the inside, back behind Andy Patton, down 2 spots early. On the contrary, right in front of him, Jeff Barker up 2 spots. They're battling hard. Andy Patton looks back down to the inside, and we'll get back around the 513 for now. Terry Landis loses grip coming out of 4. And $100,000, I believe, had it at the line, but Terry Landis fighting back here, going down the back stretch, now down the front stretch. Give it to the 518. He's up to P2, shuts the door on the Desert Demon, and just like that, we're going to see what kind of pace this 518 has. Can he run down this man up front? Look at how big the lead is. Holy moly, Blake Chapman setting the pace out front. You see, we can't even see Blake. Where do we? There, we just saw him about to enter turn 1 on that stationary camera. He's running up on some lap traffic, coming up on the mayor here of his hometown. Steve doesn't want to receive any complaints, and he's going to let the kid take the low side, go right on by as Joseph Grandy trying to imitate. Let's see what kind of lap times we're seeing. Just give these guys as much information as we can. Blake consistently 11.3s, 11.4s down there on the bottom. Grandy and the boys running 11.5s to 11.8s. I mean, it's quite off the pace. Blake Chapman really, I mean, this track, this has to be his new favorite playground. The kid has figured something out. We're going to hop. No, we're not. We're going to click the right one here. There we go. We're going to ride and just look at him. Barely sawing that wheel. Keeping it as straight as can be. Blowing it down. Not fighting it like everyone else. And that's where you see all the speed. Blake just doing a good job of getting as close to that inside berm as he can without lifting up the left front. Man, oh man, the kid's on rails. I think he learned his lesson here too. He's being real cautious in lap traffic, doesn't want to have anything happen to him. So you see Terry Landis. This is actually, let's stationary out here. We'll show you. Here comes Joseph Grandy. There's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So that's your battle. Ryan Moore Sr. and Jeff Barker. Your first cars really anywhere close to a battle here with 5 laps left to play. Blake Chapman, 4.5 seconds up the road, over 100 grand. And well, these guys thought they were battling for position. Here comes the leader. Blake's got to be real smart. 6-second lead. He doesn't have to do anything fancy. That was close. That was close. The Brewerton Beast definitely not trying to block there. You know, he's just racing. You got to hold your line. He's doing just that. Gives a little more room this time. And Blake Chapman blinking a little bit. He's back. Everything's all good in the land of popcorn, and the white flag's out. One more trip around for the Kreitz Sim Racing 20 machine. Final time through 3 and 4. Pop your popcorn. Blake Chapman goes 2 for 3 and Husitz for the hometown heroes. Wins the midgets. Has a little hiccup in the 360s while out front. Brings home the checkered flag once again here in the 410s. Joseph Grandy, 6 seconds back the road. P2. Terry Landis rounds out the podium. What a night for the Desert Demon. 3 podiums here. 1 being a win in the 360 sprints. Great night for the Kreitz Sim Racing team, who goes 3 for 3 in your Flatline Racing Bodies hometown heroes. You know, actually, I didn't even really think about that either, but no cautions. Either what a run here. I mean, you kind of, you expect these guys to play nice. Not a big field, but you don't always get what you want. Tonight we did. We got great racing, good battling all over the track. Not necessarily up front, but back behind Blake, it was always a battle, and we're going to talk to that man who brought home P3. I interrupted him laughing. This is great. I'm perfect with this. Batting 1,000, Terry. Man, you know, I told you you'd be a favorite for the podium. It maybe didn't come as easy as you thought, but hey, able to get there and talk to us about the run.
What a workout, man. I was tough running, trying to keep that thing straight. You catch the wrong grip coming out of 4 and throw you into the wall. I mean, 2 would throw you into the wall. That was a fun track, though.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's one thing that's kind of neat about this track. I didn't do a good job of touching on that during the race, but why do you think it is so much that you get grip coming off of 2 on the bottom, but it seems like it's gone so fast coming out of 4? Is it just the way drivers run it in qualifying, maybe burn it up a little faster?
Yeah, it could be just the way everybody hits the apex, you know, and the way maybe turn 4 is sucked in a little bit so you can get a little lower and just wears it out quicker. I don't know. But yeah, the bottom was locked down pretty good. And I saw Joseph was running the top, so I tried to follow him, and then low in 1 and 2. Seemed to be working because 3 and 4 was shot.
Well, Terry, you know, 3 for 3 tonight, and Kreitz Sim Racing, man, you brought home the trophy in all of them, so it's a great night for the team. But I know you wanted this, and man, you needed it. You got that new paint job, and we got the Desert Demon back out there. 3 for 3. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
Oh, thank you for sure, and for putting on a great show. You're the best. And Flatline Racing Bodies, because you bend things up, and them guys will straighten it out for you. And then Jeter for making some really good pre-roll stuff there, and Galen's Home Popcorn. Put cart in the word and you get 15% off, and Kreitz Old Track Parts, and my wife Judy.
Great run, Terry. 3 for 3 tonight, and man, we got to see what you can do rolling into tomorrow night. Good luck, brother.
Thanks, sir. Have a good night.
The Desert Demon P3, and once again another P2 for the man in the 518. You made it a little easier on yourself. You got to start third, but it just seemed like by the time you got around Terry, Blake was just so far up the road.
Yeah, he's so good at hitting the bottom. Pretty much everywhere, if the bottom's there, he's going to be out front far. I'm just not comfortable enough here. I haven't ridden it a whole lot to run the bottom, but in the 410, I just want to rip the outside, you know.
No, yeah, I hear you. Beat down that wall with the right rear. And do you think the bottom sticking so long here in the 410s is kind of a result of, only 10 cars in the field and not really beating up the track as much?
Yeah, I was just about to say that if there's more cars on the field, I think the bottom would have went away maybe the last 10 laps or so, and then possibly caught up. But it is what it is.
Yeah, you played the hand you were dealt tonight, and hey, back-to-back P2s, man. Nothing to frown on. Great run tonight. Who you want to thank?
Catalytic Recovery, West End Towing and Repair, all the guys over at Inferno, everyone else on my car, my girlfriend Olivia, everyone at Coast to Coast, and you as always, man, for doing the broadcast.
Great run, Joe. Look forward to a lot more of these this year, man. Good run.
Thanks.
And now we bring up the salesman, Blake Chapman. Blake, nobody got any help of a caution this time, and I watched you those last 4 or 5 laps. I saw you play it safe. You weren't going to let it happen again. Welcome back to victory lane. Hell of a run, kid, man. Somebody's going to have to put some serious time into this place to figure out your trick, man. You've got this thing nailed. You're on rails.
Yeah, like you said, man, about 4 or 5 to go, I came up on those lap cars and they were a little loose, and then I think more started blinking a little bit. I'm like, I'm just not gonna deal with it. I'm gonna back out of this thing. I think I had like a 6-second lead, so I was all right.
It was
I was
7.
back off.
It was 7. You let it whittle down to. I'll give you credit. It was 7.5, and it whittled back down to 6 when you played it smart. So I mean, give credit where credit's due, dude. You were. It's crazy. I've seen, Gavin do it on the top at different places. I mean, hell, you and Patrick as well. But, dude, you had good cars behind you. And for you to do what you just did, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it's, other guys just haven't really gotten comfortable running the bottom here. And I picked it up pretty quickly. And, usually I take about half of the engine restrictor out of this for the 410s. But with only 10 cars, there's still so much grip left on the bottom. I only took a little bit out, and it was kind of difficult getting out of 2 because it was really rough. So there's a lot of tacky. So yeah, I wanted to get on the gas, but it was rough enough to where I had to be a little bit careful. So yeah, the bottom's been doing the trick for me so far here at Huset's.
Yeah, Terry touched on that a little bit. What is it coming out of 2? Is there just a bump that wants to jerk the car back up to the wall? I mean, I haven't putting as much track time in here as I probably should have. So this is a real honest question. What is it about 2 that makes the car want to go up to the wall like that?
Yeah, just coming out of 2, right in that spot where you want to get on the gas, right down the back stretch there. There's bumps, and they stretch up to about to the middle of the track, I think. And once you hit it, it wants to take the car up towards the wall, like you said. So, if I'm all by myself, that's not too big of an issue. But if there's a car outside, you definitely have to be really, really careful, and that can get guys. And shout out to everyone. We with the caution-free race tonight, we were able to keep it clean.
Yeah, man, clean. And I'll tell you what, I know it's, I don't want to bring up the Vietnam flashbacks here, but man, you almost had P2 there. And that last one fighting back in the 360s, we were watching you drive through the field. You were on rails tonight, kid. Way to cap the night. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching. I got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring this Hometown Heroes night. Got to thank all the guys down at the Kreitzum Racing Team, especially Terry. Shout out Terry. I hope he comes back next week. This was his first week, I think, running Hometown Heroes, and he had one heck of a night. More podiums than I did. So, congrats to Terry on that. yeah, and got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and the AJ Custom Creations. Of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Like I said, NFL playoffs are coming up. Even Valentine's Day is coming up too. So it's never too early to start thinking about that stuff. Galen's Gourmet Popcorn makes a perfect gift. You can head over to their website and don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off. Got to thank Steven Bixler for the admin tonight. And of course, I got to thank you for doing the broadcast, Shaggy.
Well, congratulations, Blake. And man, hopefully your schedule's free and I'm talking to you again tomorrow night. Good luck.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman brings home the checkered flag here, and man, what could have been? I mean, dominated that 360 race, but you saw he learned from it. And when he catches the lap traffic here late that we see him coming up on, you know, sometimes you just you're the cat, you can't always kill the bird. Sometimes you just got to lay there, lick your paws, and make sure they're sharp and ready for when you strike. And that's exactly what he did. He just kept the car clean and, well, ain't going to have any work to do at the Flatline Racing Bodies facility this week on the 20 machine. Kept the 410 straight, and he'll be able to load it up, give it a wash when he gets home, and roll her back out next week. But thanks for tuning in here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. On behalf of all the sponsors, A&J Custom Creations, Flatline Racing Bodies, everyone else that keeps the gears turning here at Coast to Coast, we want to thank you for tuning in. And, well, hopefully you chime back in tomorrow night. We'll be live here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network around 7 Eastern for a little bit of modified racing action. So join me, and thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm Zach Chapman with Shaggy TV, signing off. Have a good evening.